senior track season was wild for me. Like Jase and I transferred from 6A down to 2A, a little school called Salem Academy. I went in with the goal of making it to state, getting on that top 8 podium. Maybe I was naive, maybe I was a little bit foolish at the time. I was like, if I run my PR 434, I can make it to state, which was probably true, yeah. But as you can probably guess, it didn't end up that way.
I don't know. I felt fast. Wasn't planning on going to the 800 for state, and yeah, ka-chow. Felt great. I felt lucky. I felt lucky for multiple reasons. First of all, was I got third place in districts, right? Lost by 0.3 seconds, or whatever it was, some ridiculous thing to this guy who ran it for the first time they had it, right? So not only was I feeling a little vengeful for that guy, I was gonna go kick his butt, and harboring him, but yeah, I got in by the wild card, but I also felt lucky because there's only 12 guys in that race. One heat, top 8 to go podium, which was my main goal. Because, dude, that first day we got there, sitting in the stands for 7 hours of that day, watching my teammates perform, uh, and just seeing that podium and the whole stadium erupting and clapping. I needed that glory. I needed that glory, And so I was like, yeah, that's where I want to be, right? And all I have to do is beat 4 other chumps.
I remember the first time trial we ran that season. It was sort of a cloudy day, probably first or second week of practice. Jason and I in the 1500. I run a 505. He runs a 504. In the 1500, he beats me. I want to say that was the moment that ruined it, but it kind of reaffirmed the doubts in my head. It was like, oh, you're a failure. You're not good enough anymore. You'll never be as good as you were sophomore year. But I'd already decided in my mind that I wasn't going to be good this year. I'd be afraid to do some workouts, kind of skip out on that stuff. A repeat one time. I was just so nervous. Like, I stopped at 1200 to go use the restroom. I was just so anxious. And felt like nothing could be done about it. I had no answers. So at districts, unsurprisingly, I didn't qualify for state, but my brother did. My brother, who did not put in the same amount of effort as I did, brother who did not care as much as I did about running. Running was my thing, running was my sport, running was my identity. It was none of that to Jase. Or so I thought. I I thought state would mean everything to me if I like all like my entire high school track career, everything I went through would make sense if I just qualified for this race. And I didn't. And Lil Bro did. So yeah, it was really frustrating. To put it as nicely as possible.
Trying to think. So race day, woke up. It was pretty standard. I don't even remember what we had for breakfast. All I just remembered is that I felt like nervous, right? And I was like, I did not prepare for this. Got no sleep last night. Didn't drink any water. Like not how I really want to. And I was mad. Like it was just anger because it's like I wanted to sleep in a bed, And I just like was mad. I was like, there's no way my race is gonna be is now. It felt like I just got like like I lost it just because like I didn't have the things I needed, right? Which I accept responsibility for the actions if I was just being an idiot and staying up way too late and just being a dork. But like I think that race day got there. Um, I listened to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So that album got me pretty hyped. Um,
I came on the trip because who would say no to going to Hayward Field? But I don't know, this whole time I'm just thinking like, I don't deserve to be here. Why am I here? I suck at running. And I get to see people do good at running. Like people, I see so many people doing the thing I want to be good at, but I'm not good enough to be here. And I'm making this all about me, right? Because that's all track was to me last season. It was all about me. I thought what was best for me was to give up, to just stop caring, to not be a really supportive teammate. And Yeah, I just didn't want to be around it.
Yeah. So I was yeah. So 7:21 p.m. And I don't remember how early I don't I don't remember how early I went into warm up, but Hayward Field had a little track that you could run on to warm up, and all the athletes and coaches were there. And so I'm running, stretching, you know, um, a lot of different things. Like it felt pretty standard. I was being thorough, and just a lot of prayer. I remember just felt anxious. The feeling it felt the same as at every other race. Looking back at it, but in the moment, that's all that mattered. Uh, so it was extreme, but it was fun. Get called to go under, like you go under the stadium a little bit. There's like facilities and stuff, um, and so I get called under, uh, going in and just waiting there with the other guys I'm about to beat in this race, and chopping it up, trying to, but everybody else is nervous, so nobody's talking to me. I'm like, what the heck? And so like they it felt like TSA, like airport, like they had you put all your water bottles and stuff in a bucket, and then like they'll take it to the other end, and then after the race, and there's a guy with like a revolver on his hip right under there. He's like, I've been here since Prefontaine, and it's ancient guys. It's really cool facilities. They have a ton of like famous runners and portraits and signatures and all that stuff, right? And then there's like, I forget who it was, the guy who said he like founded the place or whatever. It was something crazy. I was like, oh, that's neat, right? This guy who'd been doing it for a while. Um, so a bunch of Hayward employees, and then walk out. And yeah, look, Heat 1, Lane 6, or no. Outside Lane 2. So I was outside of Lane 2. I thought I was in an outside lane. I was in Lane 2. I was sharing it with another guy though, and uh, yeah, it took off, dude. I felt nervous, and I just ran. I ran the race the best I could. I was gassed, underprepared. Uh, ran. I didn't PR. It wasn't my best race, but it was good enough to get me 8th place. And then watching it back, like I slowed down on the finish. Like I didn't run through the line. I slowed down, and this guy almost took. This guy was like right on. So but it was fun.
So Jase gets in, he runs the 800, and he does great. He runs 210 in the 800, way faster than my PR. But I don't know, for some reason, like I kind of feel like I'm happy for him, and I think I was happy that he did good, and I think in that moment, once he crossed the finish line, it was like, this is super cool. Like Jase just got top 8 in the state of Oregon at the 2A level. Like that's pretty cool. And it kind of stopped getting me to think about myself a little bit.
I remember, um, I went back under the. You go back under the stadium, and then you wait like 15 minutes, uh, after the race is finished, and then the top 8 go on the podium and get their medals, and very special. I gave a hug to the guy. Is a colleague who had also been running in the same district as me, and I talked to the other guys in that race, and then, um, yeah, he gave everybody a pat on the back, and then did a little jig. Got sturdy with the boys.
And my family was there too. And my family, all 4 of us, we got to experience a special moment together of watching one of our boys run a really fast time. There's few moments I've ever experienced in my life that were just so magical and so touching. I think I might have felt a little bit of Hayward magic that day. And then going around the track, seeing him go on the podium, he got to fulfill my dream.
Okay, so yeah, so I went on there, and yeah, and I was excited. I was probably yapping, just like saying the most crazy things, and I was like, "Oh, I should have done better. Oh, it was so close. Oh my gosh." And like, excuses, whatever. But it was good, and yeah. So that's what the race felt like. If that's the detailed account, I honestly don't remember too much. Like that could have been false, like some of that. But I just remember like the feeling I had. Yeah, it's hard to describe. But looking back, it felt like the same as any other race. But yeah, in the moment, I wasn't thankful to be there. I wasn't reminiscing over the season. Uh, to be completely honest, I felt like there was some sort of expectation for me to, get a medal, right? Because like all the other guys that were on that trip running the relays and stuff, they got like fifth or sixth place, right? They all got medals, you know, uh, Logan, Brady, and those guys, and Detweilers, and so like they all were walking around with their medals around where our little camp was with our team, and I was like, dude, like I need to get a medal, right? I think ultimately that pushed me, but it was social acceptance. I want to be accepted. I didn't want to be the only guy who didn't get medals, and dude, the feeling when you walk back to like our little setup with that medal on, everybody's congratulating you. Coach takes a picture for the Instagram, and it's like, oh man, and like I'd sat there for the past 2 days watching everybody else, and I was like, okay, I got to go do this, right? Like I made it here, right? A fair shot. I earned this. Like I'm gonna I'm gonna go. That's my goal, right? Because yeah, I think that if I didn't get a medal right there, I would have been the only person that didn't get a medal. Um, and I only had one event. That was my one shot. Um, so yeah. So I was thinking about that. I was just worried. I wanted so badly to get that. Um, yeah.
Afterwards, we were out on the street, talking to my grandparents who unfortunately couldn't enter the stadium to watch his race. And he pulls me aside and he hands me this medal. He's like, "Take it, it's yours." Like, uh, this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for you. And uh, nothing ever has really, I don't know, made me so emotional with running. I totally cried in that moment. Um, yeah, he in that moment, like all my struggle for however long it was for running, all the bad things I went through, the times I wanted to give up, but the times I didn't give up, and all the positive things in my running career stood out to him and inspired him to want to get that medal. It was amazing, and the rest of the night was just so beautiful. Like I'll never forget that night at Hayward. It meant so much more to him to get that medal than it would have ever meant for, for me to get that medal. Yeah. So hopefully I can say this to you to your face someday, Jase, but I love you. Thanks. Good job. Jase got eighth place in the 800, and it's always really cool to be at Hayward. Always makes me a little emotional too. So
Wear this the best, you're not taking it off until you shower in the morning, okay?
this is going to be a little bit of a rant because I'm not trying to complain, but so state, we had this little team Airbnb that we all stayed in. Terrible idea. I'm staying at home this year if we're going back, or if there's going to be a complete reform to how we did it, ran it. Because I was promised I'd be able to sleep in a bed, right? The coach said, yeah, there'll be beds for everyone. There's plenty of beds. There's bunk beds. There's plenty of room. There's beds for everyone, right? Uh, and coach also brought some other people that weren't actually racing. So we brought like doubles for the relays. What are they called? Alternates. Yeah. So he brought head coach brought alternates. She brought all the seniors, regardless if they had qualified, and so it was fun. Like, I loved having all the people there, right? But you know, uh, priorities, and some people got beds when the athletes should have got beds, right? So as an athlete who's actually participating, not someone who's just along for the ride, I didn't get a bed. I didn't bring a sleeping bag. I had no idea. I was completely unprepared. So I slept on the couch with, another dude, feet in my face. So the night before, we stayed up till like 12 a.m. watching Ted on Netflix, right? I was wrestling with my brother in my underwear. All this crazy stuff. Like, dude, I feel like every single day at school, I sit down and have a conversation with someone. There's a photo of me at track state at that house in the basement, right? And like videos of me in my underwear, or like pretending to be a ghost with a blanket around my head. So it was kind of wild, right? But it was kind of fun. And I yeah, it was pretty fun. And trying to think. So race day, woke up. It was pretty standard.